Welcome back to another video, and in this video we have the ATK F1 Ultimate V2. So this is like their second version of this mouse, and it is one of like the lighter mice, I would say, that they have available. And supposedly I'll say it like compares to like the Pulsar 10s mouse that I've looked at before. Packaging again is just on point for ATK. Alright, so there are three different versions of this mouse, and I have the F1 V2 Ultimate. There's also the Ultra Max and the Extreme. This one here specifically is the Ultimate, which has a PAW 3950 Ultra, a Nordic 54L15. It's 8K polling, just like everything. It has 300 milliamp hour battery, and it is 39 grams plus or minus 2, and it has custom ATK optical switches. So I went with this one just because of the price that it was, and I didn't want to. Let's see, the Extreme has a 200 milliamp hour battery, so you lose around 30%. So I decided to go with the middle ground because the Ultra Max was 800 milliamps, but it also weighed 54 grams, which would then just be like the A9 Ultimate in terms of like weight and battery size. So I didn't want to just get another one that was exactly the same. And I'll pull up the price for you guys. At the time, there was a sale happening, and the order total here, you can see it was $49.83 shipped to the US. It did come from China, so it took about 2 weeks or so. Same receiver as the A9 Ultimate. Same packaging. Everything is pretty much the same, which is to be expected. Again, it is very, very light already, that I can tell. Some nice swoops here. We'll see if that feels any different. And then I'm sure this will all be the same as what was in the A9 Ultimate, which is just all the cables and such. And again, all new 2 sets of skates. One that you need to put on, manual, and then also some grip tape. And I have used the grip tape on the R6, and so far only complaint is it gets kind of dirty, but that's also what would happen with white grip tape, so it's not super surprising. I haven't used this mouse too much, only a few games of Battlefield. I've been using the Pulsar, and I'll be using that for around a couple more weeks, and then I'll just do my final review on it. But yeah, so just does come with skates that you have to put on yourself, not the end of the world. And in the, let's see, A9 video, I think I went over that I have a bunch of skates for the F1 V2 Ultimate and the A9 and a whole bunch of other skates that I have. So for this mouse, I don't think I'll be using any grip tape just because of my experience with the R6. And I don't really have issues with losing my mouse ever, or like it slipping out of my hand. And when I did use the grip tape, it was okay. It wasn't like game-changing or anything, so I didn't think it was anything super necessary for me. I never have used grip tape, so I don't think that it's something that I'll really need. Just gonna put these skates on and we'll see how they feel. All right, skates are on. They're just pretty generic white skates. They feel very smooth. It's very easy to like push this mouse around. I'd say a little more slidey than the Pulsar. little easier to slide around. This is my old G Pro Superlight. It is easier to push than the Superlight also, but we'll just go over some of the basic buttons and stuff. So we got power on, the contrasting side buttons. They feel fine. Mouse wheel is fairly tall. It's kind of medium tall, I would say, which I've noticed. I definitely like taller mouse wheels. Quite a thuddy click, so that's all right. I'm gonna zoom in. Let's see. A good chunk of travel, I would say. Like, that's a decent amount. And again, decent amount of also post travel, but all around they feel nice. USB-C also very nice. I have noticed on the Pulsar, I mentioned it in like the initial impressions, that this, see, the left mouse has a lot more travel versus the right. And I thought that kind of be an issue, but I don't really notice it that much. So having a little bit of travel on this mouse, which is about what the Pulsar has, I don't think that'll be too much of an issue. These are very clicky and like they're very tactile, which I'm a fan of. So overall, I think very nice mouse. It's quite light. I won't be doing any like weighing of the mice or anything, because 1 or 2 or 3 grams difference isn't gonna make a big difference to me. It is more forward hump like the Superlight. So back hump on the Pulsar. This one's more Superlight. And then also very light as well. And so far I do like both of these types of mice in terms of shape. I don't think I prefer one over the other. So it's mostly just mouse feel at this point, I think, for me. This one being a little more like scratchy on the bottom feeling, or like there's a lot more resistance. I don't know how to explain it that well, but it could also just be that these skates are worn down a bit. I don't know if you can even see the difference. Come on, buddy. Can I get good glare? Yeah, there's a nice wear spot, and I don't know if that makes too much of a difference. The bottom has the same thing, a little hard to see, but I do think the new mice move better, but it could also be that this one just has worn out skates. The Attack Shark R6 I think is probably my least favorite mouse so far, and that's just mainly due to the mouse wheel being very low profile. It's just not very tall. It's a little awkward to press sometimes. But not to say this is a bad mouse for like $40 to $50. I just think that if you like having a mouse wheel that's a little taller, don't get this mouse. But other than that, the R6 is nice, but I just like the taller mouse wheels. And this one is also very notchy. The R6 is not as notchy, so this one does have a nice mouse wheel feel. And I think that's about it in terms of what I will be covering in the initial impressions. I'll be using the Pulsar for a bit more, and then make my final review video on it and just my overall thoughts. It'll mostly be the same as the first impressions. And then I will move on to the Attack Shark. I'll use it a little bit more Then the A9 Ultimate, which will be this one here. I will probably take off these grip tapes just because when I was using it, I didn't really notice too much of a difference. And then after that, I'll be using this one for a few months. And hopefully this will be my final mouse, because so far I do like this one the best. And it just fills out my hand a little better. I do say I have like bigger hands. So like having the back bump doesn't really do too much. Like it does feel nice also, but I like having the more support here versus back here in my palm. And I think that about covers it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video of the ATK F1 V2 Ultimate, and I will see you guys in the next one.